Today, we're heading off the beaten path, way off, to four places that just don't make any sense. We're talking about an island that literally vanished from the map and a town that clawed its way back from a watery grave. These are places where reality just feels weird. So let's dive in. Our first stop starts with a question that is as bizarre as it is heartbreaking. You're looking at a quiet, unassuming bridge in the Scottish countryside, but it's hiding a really dark secret. For decades, something here has been compelling dogs, and only dogs, to jump. So this is the Overton Bridge in Dumbarton, Scotland. It was built more than 100 years ago, and, it looks perfectly charming, right? But it's got this deeply unsettling history that has completely stumped scientists and become this source of absolute dread for anyone who owns a dog nearby. And we're not talking about a few isolated incidents here. The numbers are just staggering. It's estimated that more than 600 dogs have taken this 50-foot plunge. And what's so weird is that no other animals seem to be affected at all. There are even stories of dogs who survived the fall only to climb right back up and try to jump again. It's just chilling. So what in the world could be going on here? Well, the explanations are really split. On one hand, you've got the supernatural. Local folklore says the bridge is a thin place, where the veil between our world and the spirit world is weak. Some people blame the ghost of the White Lady of Overton, who supposedly haunts the area. Others point to some kind of negative energy left over from a horrible tragedy back in 1994. But then you have the scientists. They think it could be the really strong scent of mink that live down in the gorge. It might just overwhelm the dog's senses and make them leap without thinking. Or it could be an optical illusion. The bridge's solid walls might trick the dogs into thinking it's all solid ground. But really, nobody knows for sure. Okay, from a mystery about why dogs jump, we're shifting gears to a mystery of geography, and maybe even a political conspiracy. We're heading to the Gulf of Mexico to look for an island that was on maps for centuries. And then, right when it became incredibly important, it just disappeared. So get this, for over 400 years, Bermeja Island was right there on the maps. No big deal. But then, in the 90s, huge oil reserves were found nearby. Suddenly, this little island was critical. Its existence would have given Mexico rights to a massive amount of that oil. So, in 1997, the Mexican government sent ships to find it, and there's nothing there. A year later, the story gets even darker. A senator named Jose Angel Concheo, who was pushing super hard to find the island, was killed in a very suspicious car crash. And by 2009, a final high-tech search confirmed it. Where an island should have been, there was nothing but sand. So how does an entire island just vanish? Well, there are three big theories. Theory one, it was never there to begin with, just a phantom island drawn by old mapmakers to fool their enemies. Theory two, nature did it. The island just eroded away or sank over the centuries. Or theory three, the one the conspiracy theorists love, the CIA secretly blew it up to stop Mexico from claiming all that oil. The real answer might be at the bottom of the ocean. All right, so we've gone from a missing island to something that's very, very present. Deep in the Brazilian jungle, there's this massive concrete structure that, well, it doesn't seem to do anything. It is quite literally a bridge that leads to nowhere. I mean, just look at this thing. If you told me it was an ancient ruin or some monument from a lost civilization, I'd probably believe you. It's huge, over 130 feet high and 1,000 feet long, and the jungle is just swallowing it whole. It feels like a piece of a modern city was just dropped into the Amazon with absolutely no explanation. But the real story is a little less Asian aliens and a lot more modern economics. This is the Viaduto Petrobras. It was supposed to be a major part of Brazil's massive BR-101 highway, connecting Rio de Janeiro and Santos. They worked on it for 16 years, and it was almost done. But then, in the late 70s, Brazil's economy totally collapsed, and all the money for the project just vanished. So they had to reroute the highway, and this incredible piece of engineering was just abandoned, left for the jungle to take back. Okay, for our last story, we're going to Argentina, to a place that was lost, found, and then kind of lost again. This is the unbelievable story of Villa Epecuén, a popular resort town that was drowned only to reappear decades later like a real-life Atlantis. Back in the 1970s, Villa Epecuén was hopping. It was a tourist town built next to a salt lake that people thought had healing powers. But on November 10th, 1985, everything changed. A huge storm broke a nearby dam, and water just poured into the town. Within weeks, all 1,500 residents had to flee as their homes disappeared under 30 feet of corrosive saltwater. For 25 years, it was an underwater ghost town. Then, around 2009, the climate shifted, the water started to pull back, and this haunting, salt-caked skeleton of a town was revealed. But here's where the story gets really incredible. One person came back. Out of all 1,500 people who had to leave, only one, an 81-year-old man named Pablo Novak, returned to live among the ruins of his old home. For more than a decade, Pablo was the town's only resident, its only living memory. He became this amazing symbol of resilience, a guy who just refused to give up on his home, even after it was totally destroyed. He literally gave the ghost town a heartbeat. So sadly, in January of 2024, Pablo Novak passed away at 93 years old. And with him, the last light in Villa Epiquin went out. A town that was once famous for its crowds became famous for having just one resident. And now, it's truly, completely empty again. So, a deadly bridge, a phantom island, an abandoned highway, and a sunken town that came back only to fade away. These places are a powerful reminder that our world is still packed with secrets, and some questions, well, they just might not have answers. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other lost worlds are out there just waiting for us to find them?